So good morning, my friends. Brian here with VetteSource. Kind of out on a different video again today, where we are leaving quite early to get on out to other parts of Texas. We have to drive 600 miles today to go grab a few parts that I need for customers, and we're going to go ahead and pick up another interesting car that is not in the wheelhouse of my Corvettes, but still is an interesting vehicle. Regardless, sorry for the bumpiness, where excuse me, the dually does not want to cooperate on these city freeways here as we find our way into Houston from the south side back into north side of town. But right now I'm going to be traveling up to Dallas. It's about 5:15 in the morning, so you can see we're already got a lot of, well, somewhat a lot of traffic going into work already. But thought you guys can hang out with me today. I'll show you the car we're picking up, a few of the extra special parts we need to get that are off the books. One Corvette part, one other type of car part. So stick with me. I'll be back a little bit later when we get to some of the more interesting topography, and we'll look at some of that stuff. Be right back. Alright guys, leaving our first rest stop here. On our way to our first stop. We're about halfway to our first stop, which is going to be southern Dallas, where we're going to pick up a totally non-Corvette part for myself, since I backed into my poor neighbor's minivan. Really nice older couple that I've lived next to for, God, 20 plus years, and they never parked their minivan on the street. And then one day they did, and I wasn't paying attention and backed my truck right into it. So I'm gonna go get them another hatch up here in Dallas. And of course it's a 10-year-old minivan, so something I had to look around for a while to find a nice one, of course, with the backup camera. So yeah, you gotta have the right stuff on those new things. So we're up here, of course, everybody's favorite place to go, Buc-ee's in Madisonville. And then if you've watched some of my other driving videos I've had up on the channel before, Houston to Dallas, it's around 250 from city downtown to city downtown, 240, 250. So it takes a little while to get up that way. It's not like you're just going to jump in the car and get there. I mean, heck, it takes an hour just to get across the city of Houston as it is. So we're going through, actually got a lot of bluebonnets, the state flower here in Texas. We get fields and fields of them across certain parts, and I'll try to film that later on for those of you that don't know the Texas landscape very well. But of course, we're just traveling 45 north right now. Mostly the big trucks are out this morning getting their loads done. There's a lot that happens between Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Houston, back and forth, the triangle basically. San Antonio going back up through Austin to Fort Worth. Because if you look on a map, you'll see it basically, the three cities form a huge triangle on this eastern part of the state. So there's a lot of driving to do and roads to go through here. But anyway, we'll catch back up with you guys in a few. There's a neat trailer manufacturer right there. I think that's Texas, yeah, Texas Pride Trailers. So if you guys got a Texas Pride trailer, that's where it came from, right there. That's our main production facility. So anyway, I'll be back in a little while. Once we're back closer to Dallas, I'll show you guys how things look up there, and we'll see you in a second, okay? All right, as we approach our way from the southern side of Dallas, you can see some of these fields of bluebonnets I was telling you guys about. They just, for some reason, grow wild here in Texas all over the place. I'm not sure the history. I should know better about the state flower, being a resident here pretty much my whole life, but you'll catch people randomly just taking pictures. These are actually not very big fields of bluebonnets. Man, sorry about the truck moving everywhere, guys. But pretty impressive. When they cover an entire field, it turns the whole field blue, like a violet blue. It's kind of a neat looking effect. But yeah, I think for the most part, they're just all over the state, everywhere. There's a big patch of them there, you can see. But yeah, just interesting stuff. So we're north of Corsicana, coming into south side of Dallas, where we'll be picking up our first part, and then we're gonna go from there down to good Lord, Cleburne. That's where we're going after that. So I'll check back with you guys after we pick up this part here, and we'll see what else. This thing is bouncing me around anyway. I must be on the rough section of the freeway. Okay, see you in a bit. All right, we made our first stop and grabbed our rear hatch assembly for the neighbors. Now we're heading south down to Cleburne. We're about 260 miles into our 600-mile day, so we're almost halfway through, which will be cool, but just with a couple more stops, so that'll give us a little more time. So this Highway 67, I think this is a state highway, runs all the way down through Cleburne and goes through some of the central parts of Texas, so it's a convenient spot, or a convenient alternate road to take if some of the freeways are backed up, if you're coming into Texas. You know, but yeah, this is pretty much metropolitan here. A few little hills. We're in the northern part of the Texas, and you can kind of see the overcast day. This is, Dallas is still part of that Tornado Alley area, so they actually said there was some expectation of bad storms today, but hopefully we'll be south of that before we ever encounter any of that today. So, off onto our next stop, where we're going to pick up this unusual car that, frankly, I hadn't even heard of it before. But anyway, I'll show you guys more once I have this thing dragged out of the dirt and on the trailer. So, I'll be back in a bit. All right, real quick, guys. Here is our payoff. As we run down the road, here's our 68 Oldsmobile Delmont 88, which, again, I'm a car guy, and I never even heard of this car. So it was kind of unusual when I found it. I just thought I'd stop real quick and show you guys. You know, this thing actually has a 12 bolt in it. So I'm wondering, maybe this had a 455 in it. It's got a 350 in it now, what it looks like. But isn't that an interesting car? Two-door, hardtop, Delmont 88. Like I said, they only made these for 2 years, 67 and 68. So it's rough. She's been sitting for a long time, since at least 1990. But what a roof line, man. Isn't that cool? Vinyl top, I think this thing had on it. So what we'll do is we'll drag this back with the Tornados, and I'll put this on the back burner for a while so I decide if one of my Tornado guys wants it. But anyway, that's what we were going to get, and old Dooley pulls it well. Oh, and now glad I stopped. I need to fix that strap while we're here. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll be back in a bit as we head back into Houston, guys. All right, my friends. Well, back at Buc-ee's for the end of our long work day. Not really where I wanted to end back up, but of course, this is just the way it works sometimes. So, as I detailed earlier, this is part of what we got. Actually, we were looking for a nice hood for a customer, a C4 Corvette hood, and of course that was for my mistake with my neighbors, so I'm going to take care of that for them. And of course, our bonus piece was this really interesting 68 Delmont, which I didn't really talk much about earlier, but man, God, I love those scalloped lines there. I can't believe they did that with sheet metal. Anyway, you may have noticed when I walked around it earlier, this old boy fought me. There's no wheel or axle shaft on this side, but it did have 3 other wheels. That would have been okay, but none of those wheels spun. None of them would turn. They were all locked up. So this one got dragged up on the trailer. And of course, this is no, you know, you go out and rush out and buy one, but if you're going to be doing this type of recovery work, I will say this Badlands winch, this is the 12,000 pound, is really a good piece of equipment because it dragged this car kicking and screaming right up on top here. Now, I'm thinking that's 1989, I'm pretty sure, that this has been off the road for a long time, and it is a train wreck inside, but What's cool, you'll see there's nothing but manual power, no power, anything in here. I think this even has a AM radio. There's no radio in it. It's gone. Okay. There's no AC. Nothing of that nature. Let me see. Is one of the... I didn't even look. There's the bezel. Ooh, looks like I'm going to be searching for stuff. So we'll see what happens with this one. I just, like I mentioned earlier, I couldn't just leave this one to be sent to the crusher simply because it was too unique of a car. Of course, and again, not like I have time for it right now, but it will be parked in a secure location till such time as I decide either to cut it loose or to go ahead and spend some time on it. And if I do, rest assured, I will bring you guys along. You know, what's funny is I actually have a couple of 425 engines from those Tornados. If you've seen my other videos, it would really go well in this thing. So that would make one heck of a unique hot rod at the shows. So anyway, that's going to cut and finish things up for tonight. I'm going to go and cut loose because I really want to get home, and I'm still about an hour away. So thanks for coming with me on the road trip. Sorry I wasn't able to get more footage. Be honest with you, the last couple hours I was basically fighting the Z-Monster, trying to keep myself from going to sleep. So I wasn't going to be very stable as far as camera work and keeping my hands on the steering wheel. So catch up with you guys next time. Let me know what you think about that Oldsmobile, even though it's not a Corvette. It is a cool, of course, American 60s car that was always fun to talk about. So catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.